John 4:12. Numquid tu maior es patre nostro, Jacob, qui dedit nobis puteum et ipse ex eo bibit, et filii eus et pecora eus? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave to us this well, and who himself drank from it, as well as his sons and his flocks? Now the Samaritan woman issues a kind of direct challenge to Jesus, with whom she's been speaking beside this well. And the first word that we start with is not even a word that we can translate. There is no direct equivalent in English. It's simply a question word that sometimes expects a negative answer, and you can see num as part of this word. Num, you'll remember, is a question word that implies a negative response is expected, whereas nonne often expects a neutral response or a positive one. Is it not the case that such and such is true? Num by itself generally expects a negative response. Numquid is a little bit more fuzzy. Sometimes it seems to expect a negative response. Sometimes it seems to just expect a neutral one. Here, the negative expectation makes sense. Are you, here's our second person singular present active from sum esse. Are you greater, maior? This is the comparative degree of magnus, right? Magnus, maior. Do you remember the superlative degree? Maximus. Great, greater, greatest. Here we've got that comparative degree. Are you greater? And as with many comparisons, we have an ablative of comparison, two ablatives of comparison, in fact. Now remember, there's two different ways we can do comparisons. We could say tu maior es quam pater noster, where both things being compared are in the nominative case, and we find quam in the middle. Or we could eschew quam and simply use our second element in the comparison in the ablative case, which is what we've got here, which is an even more compact way of indicating that comparison. Are you really, we might say, are you really greater than our father, Jacob, in apposition here? Though you wouldn't be able to tell because, of course, this being a foreign loan word, there's no nice, clear Latin ending at the end there, but we can tell from context what's going on here. Are you greater than our father Jacob, who, and then here's a nice relative clause, in fact, it's the rest of the verse, explaining what made Jacob great, among other things, who gave, third person singular, perfect active indicative from do, dare, who gave to us the well, puteum, the well that here we're standing at, that we're talking about, and who himself drank from bibo, bibere, bibi, bibitum. You might think of Horace's dictum from one of his poems, nunc est bibendum, passive periphrastic construction. Now is the time for drinking. He himself drank from it, that is from the puteus, third person singular, perfect active indicative from bibo. And also, guess who else drank from it? His sons and his sheep and goats. Now, why don't we have another repetition of this verb in the plural? Because we don't really need one. We can construe the sentence according to the sense, and it's obvious from context. So this is a legitimate thing that you can do in Latin, and particularly here, our translator again is following the Greek anyway, which does something similar.